learners. Welcome to this video lecture on Diesel Engine Power System, Module 2 of Energy Engineering, presented by myself, Ranjit PK, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering. In this video lecture, you are going to understand about the applications of diesel engines in the power field, the various methods of starting the diesel engine. We are briefly going to have a look at the auxiliary system, that is the cooling and the lubrication, filters, centrifugal system, oil heaters, the intake and exhaust system, and the layout of diesel power plant. So let's begin learning. A diesel power station is a station where diesel engine is used as a prime mover for generation of electrical energy. So the diesel burns inside this engine and products of this combustion act as the working fluid to produce the required mechanical energy. This produced mechanical energy is then converted into electrical energy by use of an alternator. The diesel power station finds its favor at places where there is the demand for power is very less and the sufficient quantity of coal and water is not available, and when there are inadequate transportation facilities. One such system used to exist under the Karnataka Power Transmission Corporation Limited in Yelahanka, Bangalore. However, now it is being converted into a gas engine based power plant. The typical layout of a diesel engine plant has a diesel engine, the air intake system and the supercharger system, the exhaust system, the fuel system, the cooling, the lubrication system and the starting system. Some of the recommendations of writing a layout of diesel power plant include writing this plan. Please take care, this is not a technically correct drawing. The layout always has to have the components of the various systems of this. So this may not be a technically correct drawing. So the engine, it is the main component which develops the required power and it is directly coupled to the generator. The air intake system ensures that it supplies the required quantity of air required for combustion, and it also conveys fresh air through the levers and air filters that remove the dust. And the supercharger increases the pressure of the air at the engine inlet and increases the engine power. The exhaust system basically is used to discharge the exhaust into the atmosphere. It connects the engine cylinder exhaust to the pipe with the silencer to reduce the pressure and eliminate the noise. The temperature of this exhaust that is coming is very high. Hence, this heat of the exhaust gases may be used to heat the air supplied to the engine. The fuel system includes a storage tank, a fuel pump and its allied accessories. The amount of the fuel that is supplied depends on the load that is required to be generated from the plant. The cooling system includes the cooling circuit, be it the water or the cooling tower or the spray ponds, etc. The purpose here is to carry the heat from the engine cylinder and to keep the temperature of the cylinder within the permissible limits. The lubrication system includes the oil pumps, oil tanks, filters, etc. The function here is to reduce the friction and reduce the wear and tear. The starting system includes the starting aids that are usually used. The function of this is to start the engine from cold by supplying the compressed air. The applications of the diesel engine plant include being used as a peak load plant, where this is used in combination with the thermal or the hydropower plant, as the diesel engine can be started quickly and it has very less losses. It could also be used as a mobile plant where it is mounted onto a trailer and it is used for a temporary purpose for supplementing the electrical supply systems that are temporarily short of power. A typical example being the civil works which is needed for electrical power. So if there is shortage of power for this civil works, this could be diesel engine plant could be used as a mobile plant. It could also be used as a standby plant where the diesel plants are used as standby units to supply the part load when required. For example, in case of insufficient rainfall, a diesel station may supply the power in parallel with the hydro station, and once the sufficient rainfall happens, the hydro station can provide its power. It could also be used as an emergency unit where the diesel engine plant is used for emergency purpose in a vital unit such as a key industrial plant or a hospital. So in case there is a power outage, diesel engine can be used to provide the essential power supply till the power is restored. It could also be used as a nursery station wherein in the absence of a main grid, a diesel power plant is installed to supply the power. Over a period of time when electricity from the main grid is available, this diesel engine could be shifted to some other area that needs power on a small scale system. It could also be used as a starting stations where a diesel plant could run the auxiliaries like the forced draught fans or the induced draught fans for starting the large steam power plant. It could also be employed as a central station where a diesel engine plant could generate power in the range of about 5 megawatt to 10 megawatt. So the various methods of starting the diesel engine include the compressed air system, the electric starting, and the use of an auxiliary system or an auxiliary engine. In the compressed air system, air at a pressure of 20 bar is supplied from an air tank at the engine inlet. The fuel is then admitted to the remaining cylinders, and it is the most commonly used system of starting the diesel engine. In the electric starting, it consists of a electric motor having a pinion which engages a toothed rim. So the electric supply to this motor is made using a small generator having a storage battery. The electric motor disengages automatically once the engine is started. In the auxiliary system, there is a small petrol engine connected to the main engine using a clutch and gear arrangement. The clutch is disengaged and the petrol engine is initially started. Then the clutch is gradually engaged and the main engine is cranked for starting. The clutch gets disengaged automatically when the main diesel engine is started. The capacity of this small petrol engine is just sufficient to overcome the friction of the main engine. So we now look at the various auxiliary systems. So the first one, the cooling system. The proper cooling of the engine is very much necessary to increase the engine life as the high temperatures that are produced in the diesel engines could result in warping or damage to the engine. So why a cooling system is necessary? The uneven expansion of the piston in the cylinder may result in seizure of the piston. The piston could stop working. Then high temperature reduces the strength of the piston and cylinder liners over a period of time when the system is in continuous operation. And the overheated cylinder may lead to pre-ignition of the charge and cause physical and chemical changes in the lubricating oil. So which makes this lubricating oil stick to the piston rings and causes excessive wear of the cylinder. So the various methods that are used to cool the engine include air cooled and water cooled. However, diesel engines are water cooled. The first one is a thermosiphon cooling, where it is the natural action that pushes the air or water out. So as the water begins to get or absorb the heat from the diesel engine working, it becomes lighter and it moves upwards. So this is where it is used. There is a cylinder jacket which provides the water, and as the water comes in contact with the diesel engine system, it becomes hot and it is then taken out for the heating, and then it is circulated. In the evaporative cooling, there is evaporation predominantly taking place, where when the diesel engine is being in operation, air passes through and it cools the diesel engine plant, and the hot air is then made to pass onto the top. The next auxiliary system is the lubrication system. The lubricant introduces a thin film between the rubbing surfaces and thus prevents the metal to metal contact. The basic objective of using a lubrication system is to reduce the friction and wear between the parts which have motion, and it is also to cool the surfaces by carrying away the heat generated due to friction, and it also acts as a sealant which closes or seals the adjoining surface such as the piston rings and the cylinder liner. It also cleans the surface by carrying the carbon and metal particles which are usually caused by wear of the engine, and it also absorbs the shock, any thermal shock between the bearings and other parts, and consequently reduces the noise. It finally helps the piston ring to seal the gases in the cylinder. There are various lubrication systems used, that is mist lubrication, wet sump lubrication, and the dry sump lubrication. In a mist lubrication, it was the one which was employed in a two-stroke engines. The lubricant is mixed with the fuel itself. So when the fuel vaporizes, the lubricant forms a mist. This mist is usually heavier and they settle on the various parts of the engine, thus providing the lubrication action. In the wet sump lubrication, the first one is the splash system. There is drippers which ensures that the oil splashes onto various parts of the engine, and it takes away the heat, and the excess oil drips back into the sump, and is then the process is then repeated. In case of a dry sump lubrication, the oil from the sump is carried to a storage tank which is usually outside the engine cylinder, and then the oil is pumped through the filters to the storage tank with the pressures varying between 3 to 8 bar. And from this pump, the oil is used for lubrication, which passes through an oil filter before it reaches the engine bearing. In the wet sump lubrication, it is the full pressure system. The oil is pumped to the main bearings with inside a drilled passages. The pressure relief valve is provided on the delivery side to prevent the excessive pressure that is usually generated. The filters and centrifuges are the auxiliary systems which are used to arrest the dust, dirt, and any other foreign substances that are in the fuel. These filters could be either dry type or oil bath. The clean fuel provides the trouble-free operation of the engine, and this is hence needed. The air intake system, it basically conveys a fresh air through the pipe or ducts and supplies the necessary quantity of air required for combustion. A typical number would include a usage of requirement of an air of about 0.076 meter cube per minute to 0.114 meter cube per minute for every kilowatt of power that is developed. There are certain set of filters that are provided to remove the dust from the air, else these particles may also cause wear and tear of the engine. The air exhaust system, it is basically needed to carry the exhaust that is generated from the engine. The typical values include 0.2 to 0.3 meter cube per minute of gases that are produced for every kilowatt of power that is generated, considering the average exhaust temperature. It also consists of a silencer to reduce the noise level. A muffler is provided in the exhaust line, basically to reduce the pressure and indirectly reduce the noise. If you like the content, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell icon. And